The biggest battle that we will ever have to face is the battle between you and you. It's the battle of taking your mind to that limit and then breaking through. On the Mindful Experiment podcast, we will be interviewing individuals who have done that, who have gone through the struggles, who have tried to create a reality and all that they could. And when all the odds were against them, they made the impossible possible. I'm your host, Dr. Vic Manzo, and I want to thank you for being on the podcast and taking this journey with me as we go through and discover different avenues to break through those limits, different avenues to help you expand your reality so that you can evolve into the person that you desire to be. So sit back, relax. Hey guys, before we jump onto the show, I wanted to share a couple things that we have going on. If you haven't checked out my new book, Rediscover Your Greatness, I highly recommend checking it out. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, and so forth. If you want an autographed copy, you can go to www.empoweryourreality.com, and you can go ahead and purchase it there, and we'll send you an autographed copy of the book. Second, we have some amazing free, may I say, programs coming out. Check out on our page at empoweryourreality.com, you're going to see a link there called Classes on the top right. Click on it. We have a free 7-day week program that we've launched, and what it is really just sharing with you. You get a video from me every single day, and I'm going to share a tip with you on how to help disconnect so you can reconnect to who you are. You can reconnect with your soul. You can reconnect with your intuition, your heart center, your heart consciousness, whatever you want to call it. But it's going to help you just slow down the busyness of your life and try to create more calmness and stillness within you. And every day I share a tip. There's some homework with it sometimes. And it's just going to help you to learn about some different aspects to use in your life. See, whatever you like, use. Whatever you don't, just throw it away. Discard it and never even pretend like you never even heard it. But it'll be able to help you with that. And we also have some other great programs that are coming out. We're having open the door to 5 individuals for group coaching. So you can check that all out on the Empower Your Reality site. We're going to be starting that program on July 30th. So it's 5 individuals who I'm only going to take on. And we're going to go through a ton of great stuff to help you rediscover your greatness, help to really help you reshift and focus and center yourself so you can show up being the best version of you every single day. And we're going to talk about where your focus is, how you can keep track of where you're paying most of your attention to, and then how can we help shift you to retrain your brain to focus more on the things that you desire. So you can check that all out at empoweryourreality.com. And now we'll get to the show. Thank you for tuning in. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode on the Mindful Experiment. I am so excited to have you on here to talk about this topic that is something I used to do so much and saw what that took me down, and now starting to realize and see the bigger picture of how that is not the deepest root that I can truly achieve, grow, and expand in. And today we're going to be talking a lot about competition. Competition in business, competition in life, competition in sports, competition any way you want to look at it. Usually, welcome to another episode. I'm glad you're on the Mindful Experiment. This is Dr. Vic here, and we are going to dive into competition, right? A lot of circles that, in the last 10 years of my life, I've always wanted to seek how to be the best chiropractor. I wanted to be the biggest in my community. I wanted to be one of the biggest in chiropractic and serving, and so many different factors. And I was told all these different things on how chiropractic, if you're successful, here's what you should be at, here's the level you should be at, and all the things I should be doing and responding at and so forth to truly be successful. And then there came a point in my life where I started doing that, where I started to see the numbers come in, and I started to see the business grow, and I started to see volume and so many other things. And when I got there, I was kind of like, this is really my life moving forward? This is really all that they talked about? And I'm finally there, and it's like, yeah, I'm not as fulfilled as I thought. I'm more stressed. And I had to really do an evaluation of my life, because what I used to do was I was always determine my success based upon how other chiropractors were doing. How when I find a successful chiropractor, I was always curious to see how successful they were, and I would size myself to them. And if I was not on top, then I knew that I wasn't being my best, and I had to work harder and more till I got there. Now, you got to understand, in my life, I played baseball probably for almost 25 years of my life. And one of the things I did in high school and basically in high school, a little bit in grade school, and then it was in high school, was I would always look at who was good and challenge myself to them. And I would challenge myself to be like, okay, I got to be just like that or better. When I was working out, I would find out who lifted the most, and I would challenge myself to hit those goals. I had a best friend who used to work out, and at one point he was stronger than me, faster than me, and so forth. As I say, at one point. Eventually I caught up and passed him. But did that matter in the long run? Was it really important? It challenged me. It helped me grow. It gave me motivation, right? Motivation. And it helped me to get those goals. Just like a lot of people do in business, they look at their net worth and how much they're making per year, and they allow that to be their motivation. If they're not at the level where they want to be and someone's beating them or higher than them, well, my goal now is how am I going to get past that person? How am I going to push myself and work harder, stronger, longer to keep going at it to hit those goals? Now, if you're one of those people, kudos to you. My job is not to critique you. I was one of those people. My job is to share the deeper levels. If you're looking to go deeper in your life, if you're looking to find more deeper soul purpose stuff, higher actualization, higher consciousness levels, that's what this podcast is all about today. You see, because in my life, what I've learned, what I've realized is that when I got into business and I would see people being more successful, it actually weighed me down more. And even though I worked hard and I pushed myself and I worked long hours on and off the business and I did all the things I was told by all the top inspirational, motivational speakers, top leaders in our profession of chiropractic and so many other things, I kept doing the work and I was just like, I'm going to get there. And what was interesting though is I was just burnt out. I would burn out more often than none. Now, some people would say, and some people say when you're burning out, be grateful for what you're doing, be grateful for where you are. And, probably could have did more of that. I always think anytime you look back, you can always did more than what you saw. But at the same token, it was the best I was doing. And I always tell people it was the best of where you were at. Don't worry. You learn, you grow, you move forward. But for me, I just felt like I also feel like burnout happens when you're off purpose. Burnout happens when you're not aligned with what you're supposed to be doing. And in my research and my studies and my own experiences and meditations and all the other things that I do, I started learning and understanding more about this because I started questioning, why am I burnt out? What's happening? I'm seeing the numbers. My business has grown. We're massively successful. But yet, I kept seeing that I just wasn't feeling like I was fulfilled. And it was just a weird feeling. Didn't make sense. I mean, in 2 years, 3x my business, and it was just unbelievable. And we continued that growth, and it was, moving forward. And it was one of those things. And I was just like, why am I not feeling fulfilled? Why do I not feel like I'm doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing? And the reality was I wasn't doing what I thought. I was doing what others have told me, what I have heard, what I have listened to. And if you read my book, Rediscover Your Greatness, I talk a lot about focus. And I share some of these stories in my book, but I also share in the podcast. You can listen to it too. Go look back at some past episodes we've had. And I dive into this kind of concept of the programming of the mind and conditioning and how you are conditioned and how you're programmed not knowing it. And I didn't know it. And then there came a point in my life where I was just like, all right, I need to make a change because I'm not happy with this. I'm not fulfilled. I want to be fulfilled and happy by doing what I'm doing because I love what I do. And I had to go a different route. And we did. What we ended up doing was we shifted our practice to a pediatric type practice and fully, or half of it at least. And the other thing we did is we started to focus on what we really wanted to envision. I remember my wife and I did a meditation, and we just sat there and centered ourselves, and we looked at a way to what would really make us happy. How will we envision the office? What is it that we want to see? And what is it we want to do? I started envisioning our lives. How would we feel if we got to the levels of what we thought we should, what we wanted to see? What if we ended up getting to a certain point in our life to where we were able to be, what would our life look like? What's the type of life we want to have? And when we started doing all this, we started realizing we were off course. And we were off course pretty for a while. And we redirected, recentered our life and our vision, our purpose, and then we started shifting gears. And we did shift gears, and it's been amazing since. Yeah, we're not seeing the numbers we used to see financially and so forth, but what's amazing is we're a lot happier. We're more fulfilled. We feel more joy within. And the thing is, we're not competing with no one either. For at least I'm not competing with anybody else either. And I think that's the biggest thing. I'm not looking at I'm not sizing myself up to nobody except what is it I want to do? What is it I want to be? And just be me. And you see, in a lot of my meditations and things that I've learned when I did my studies of researching and just so much on the afterlife and what are we as souls and how do things works as a soul versus when we're in the physical realm and all these things. And one of the things that I learned over the time, and this is research for about 5 years, 3 to 5 years. And what I learned and the message I saw consistently is that when we go back to being our spiritual selves, the true self of who we really are not, and it's not really like we're going somewhere. We're already there. You're never disconnected from your spiritual self. But just to keep it in human terms, we're gonna, returning back to the non-physical fully. But one of those things you realize is that as a soul, you don't care about what your other souls are doing. You don't care about any of that. You're so ingrained in your own world that you are just happy to do whatever it is you're doing, and you get a kick out of it, and you don't care about what anyone thinks. You don't need approval. You need someone's opinion. You don't need anything. You're just like the happiest go-lucky person in the world or in the universe or the universes. But it's like a child. A child can go and play, and they're not looking at what other child's doing. What they're doing is they're just being in their moment, and they're enjoying their time. And see, that's true actualization. That's self-actualization. And when you do that in your life, that's when you can start to, when you stop competing with others, stop looking at what someone makes, what they drive, what car they have, how much money they have, what kind of wife or husband they have, the house, whatever, all the monetary, physical things that people go after. When you put that all away, and you start to look at on a spiritual level, what is it makes you really happy, fulfillment, and happy? And I'm not saying these physical things aren't bad. Trust me, I like physical things myself. There are material things that I enjoy. I don't kill myself for them. Eventually, one day, when I feel like I may want them, I'll get them. But I'm not driven for it. It doesn't make me happy. It's just something. It's more of a toy than it is anything else. Some of those things. But when you look at your life, it's looking at that perspective of what truly it is you desire with yourself. And when you do this type of work, you can't think of anybody else. You can't say, well, I like to make, $500,000 a year. Okay. But, does I really want to make, so-and-so makes that much. So maybe, and that doesn't, and that's not a lot, or that is a lot. Or somebody say, I just want to make $100,000 a year. Somebody say, I want to make $50,000 a year, right? Somebody say, whatever that number is, doesn't matter. It's unique to you. But you don't get caught up on what others do or what other people say you should do or the comments you should be doing or whatever it is. It makes you happy. It fulfills you. And when it fulfills you, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. So it's looking at what are the things that you enjoy? What are the things that you love about your life that you want to see happen and actualize and experience it, and just focus on that and don't allow for other things to get into the way to where they're going to go ahead and interfere with some of the stuff that mess with your peace, mess with your centeredness, your stillness. Because in so many times in our life today, we're allowing so many distractions. We're allowing so many different things to interfere with our peace and make us unpeaceful. And we compete. Competition is one of the biggest things. I can't tell you how many inspirational or motivational speakers I've heard that talk about the grind and the hustle. You got to outwork your competition. You got to outbeat them. You got to outwork them in hours. You got to outwork them in effort and all this stuff. And or else you're going to lose. And if you're not doing the work, someone out there going to be doing the work if you're resting. And it's like one of those things, and it's like, dude, we're getting away. We got to get away from this do-do society, and we got to start getting back into the being aspect of who we are. It frustrates me every time, and I know so many people that do this where they're all about like, well, this is the money I used to make, and I saw this person, and I wanted to break past that path, and now all of a sudden I blew them by, and now people, and all this other stuff. I hear people, certain houses bigger than this house, and not saying everyone's like this. Somebody look and go, man, what kind of superficial people you have. It's on Facebook and things that I see, just how some people are. But the thing is, what I'm trying to get out of the whole message is that competition makes, what is it you want and go after it and forget the rest. That's what the whole point of this whole podcast is today. What is it that you truly want? What's going to make you truly happy? And if you can't figure that out, maybe you've been listening to people too many times. I know I have. I grew up caring for what other people thought more than I thought of myself and what I wanted. I cared more for what other people wanted instead of what I wanted. And, I grew up with that my whole life. And I'm just starting to realize the patterns that it has been and the control and the effects it had on my life. And now I'm trying to change corners on that because it's an everlasting process. And so what are the things that you can do? What are the things that you desire? Who do you want to be? What do you want to have in your life? What do you want to enjoy? And go after it because you only have one life. Yeah, everyone says YOLO and they think it's just getting lit up and smoking or drinking like crazy and just being a crazy person for the day. I think YOLO is more like live to what it is you desire, what it is you choose to experience so that you can find your fulfillment and your joy and your happiness and always keep your peace within. Truly, I think that's what it is. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be about what you've done in your life that has created peace, joy, and love, or you've done the opposite. And you will always have that choice, and it always ends up what you focus on most is going to create that. So you have to be really honest with yourself when it comes to this. I know I used to compete against and size myself up to others all the time. I've done it in my business. I've done it in many different areas. And I can say today that it's nice to finally have broken that pattern and to not really care so much. Every once in a while, the trap comes, and it'll show up. But then I just say some things and I get out of it and I get refocused on what I'm doing and get back into what I'm supposed to be, what I'm trying to create. And so want to leave you with kind of a story here to end the podcast in a sense. And that is for today's episode is when you're self-actualized. This is a story about someone who is self-actualized. And so I've heard this in many different workshops, videos, podcasts, and so forth. So I'm just going to paraphrase the story. But there was a party that this one guy was invited to, and in the party, this party was a black tie event. And when he showed up, everybody was in black tie, black dresses, all nice in there, and he showed up in these colorful shorts and a colorful T-shirt with a hat on. Now, the question is, when he walked in, did he notice he was different than everyone else? If that was you walking into a party, what would you do? Most of us would have saw that we were a little different than others and started to get fear and nervousness and say, maybe I messed up. Right? A true actualized person, somebody who has focused on what it is they desire, and then they don't compete with nobody and don't do any of that stuff. They're full of fulfillment, joy, inspiration, and so much more. Would have never noticed. They would have never noticed. They would have never saw a difference. Because all they're focusing on is their self, their joy, their happiness, their bliss. What is it they want to experience? They're at a party. All right, they're focusing on that happiness and joy and the experience they're going to have from there. They're not paying attention to anything else. Competition and other things is pay attention to someone else is doing. And the more you continue to do that, the more you distract yourself from and create separation of the experience you desire to have, you want to choose to go through. And so then you wonder why you're not getting the experience and you're doing all the work and you've been following laws of attraction, your thoughts, and you're doing affirmations, you're doing all this, but you don't realize you're catching yourself and you're sizing yourself to others. You're competing. Instead, you're the person looking at everyone else going, crap, I did something wrong. I'm not in the suit. I was supposed to be in a suit. This is how it's supposed to be. Instead, you walked in beating to your own drum, saying, I'm here for the party. Let's have some fun. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. Nice to see you, blah, blah, blah. And you keep moving forward. So that's the difference. No matter where you are in your life, we have this program in our head called the tribal mindset. In a tribal mindset, humans, we're tribal. We like to be in tribes. That's the newest thing I hear nowadays. And I even say it myself. I use it. But it's one of those things where, hey, come join my tribe. Be part of my tribe. This is the tribe I'm a part of. And I do agree with tribes, and I don't. This is a weird thing because you may say, well, Doc, doesn't make sense. You call yourself a Empower Your Reality tribe. And I do. I call myself a reality. I'm part of your reality tribe. I tell you to be part of the tribe. You're on the podcast. Check out my new book. Check out our online programs. We got some online coaching stuff going on right now, free weeks and stuff like that. But at the same token, my goal with a normal tribe, what happens is if you want to be an individual within the tribe doesn't allow that. The tribe has a consciousness and evolution process that everyone goes through it together. And most of the time, it's a very slow process, and there's really no empowering individuality. That's why I'm not a fan of groups per se. Anytime I'm part of a group, I always feel like I have to be the oddball. I have to be like not doing everything they do. I take what I want to take and learn from what I want to learn and go from there. I was told a long time ago, when you're a part of a group, you lose your voice and you lose your individuality. Now you become a robot and you listen to others. Might be a little extreme of a statement, but there's a lot of truth to that. And the truth is because you're listening from the group, and sometimes the group, most groups have a leader, and the leader is guiding the way of the evolution, of the growth. And a lot of groups, normal groups won't allow for individuality because there's a course and a way of where things are going. And there's a course and a pace of how we want things to grow. And if you're going to challenge or question or try to do something different, it most of the time is not going to be accepted. We see this with the crabs or lobsters. You put 3 lobsters in a tank. If one finally says, I don't want to be part of the tribe anymore, or they want to be their own individual, you try to jump out. Well, this is a little different, though. The 2 lobsters will pull you back in. The same concept with your tribe. You try to do something different, they're going to pull you back into what they do and what their comfort is. And so self-actualization, to me, is the highest level of what everybody really wants to achieve, and we all have the power to do it. You just have to take a moment and really look at your life and see what's driving you. Where's your motivation or where's your inspiration? You see, motivation is competition. Motivation is you have to compete with others to keep moving forward. You have to size yourself to other people to keep moving forward. You always need that external event to keep empowering you, and once that's not there anymore, you're lost. Because you never really looked within to find your source. Inspiration, which other means in spirit, inspire means in spirit, and so you're within yourself. You're inspired from within, and you don't need no one's approval or opinion, or you don't need to compare or compete, and you just do what you love, and that's where true fulfillment, joy, and love and bliss. That's where that resides. True fulfillment, true joy, true bliss. Competition is all ego, mental mindset. It's leading with the mind, which will never guide you toward your true bliss, happiness, and fulfillment, because the mind's always looking for the next thing. And that's why you'll be looking closer to get to the destination, so you'll focus more on that than you will to the journey, and so forth. Heart center, more looking at what's inspiration, what's inspired from within, not competing with others. That's your heart center, man. That's going to guide you in the direction where you want to go, and you enjoy the journey because you know you love what you do, and you're just doing it because you just want to do it, and so forth. Can you see that? Can you feel that energy, that difference between the two? And so that's what I'm trying to portray in this podcast today with you guys, is just that. Make sure, no matter what you're doing in your life, you're not competing with someone else. It's like when you go to a yoga class. They always say you're not competing with no one else. It's your growth and your path and your journey. That's how it should be with everyone. And I think the more we focus on just what we want to do and who we are, and not size ourselves up to others and compare and compete with others, I think there will be a point in life where there'll be a massive shift in consciousness, and we'll see a happier society, a higher vibrational society, to where all of a sudden we do focus more on love, bliss, joy, and happiness. This is not some fake utopia feeling. I'm sharing stuff with you that is backed by science. And so that's the question you have to ask. And there's no right or wrong with this, guys. That's another thing. Some people say, well, you're kind of sounding judgmental. I'm not. Trust me. It's your choice. It's your journey. It's what you want to experience. Some people like the rush. Some people like that competition. And that's fine. If that's you, go do it. All I'm sharing here is to go deeper in life for self-actualization and spirituality. To go deeper, those who do not compare, always, instead of focusing on themselves, you're resonating more to the source of who you are, that spiritual self. You're non-physical, because that's how we are non-physically. And I think our journey on life, which is many reasons why we're here, but I think one of them too is you're lost because you forget who you are, and you have to work your way back to understanding and being who you truly are as much as you possibly can. So Hope you liked this. Hope this was a little bit of a deeper podcast than I expected. I don't have these pre-prepped. I go out and I meditate on it, and I come in and I share a podcast. And so I hope this was insightful. Please send some reviews, and if you haven't checked out my new book, Rediscover Your Greatness, go check it out. I talk a lot about this stuff in there and more. It's been getting a ton of great reviews. You're going to start seeing more and more of them. And and also I have a free 1 week. You can come hang out. One video a day from me, plus maybe some worksheets, and it's a way for you to disconnect to reconnect. So go check that out. We are so disconnected from our heart center, and this whole week, that 1 week working with me is going to help you try to do that. It's 100% free for you guys. If you want to go to empoweryourreality.com, check that out. And we're also launching out I'm only taking 5 clients for group coaching. This is a 5-week course. You can check it out online. I'll lead you to the course. But I'm only taking on 5 clients. I want to keep it small, intimate, and personal, and very individual base of care. But we're going to massively create some transformation. So if you like what's in the free week, you're going to unbelievably love in the 5-week. And it's a massive discount, so check it out. Thanks for checking the podcast. Until next time, guys, keep rocking and rolling. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Experiment Podcast. For past shows, please visit www.empoweryourreality.com. I hope this show inspired you and added to your life to help you rediscover who you really are, to break through those limits. For connecting with us on social media, please check us out on Facebook at www.facebook.com/empoweryourreality. You can check us out on Twitter. Our handle is Dr. Vic21. And also check us out on Instagram. It's instagram.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. And as always, if this show you found to be helpful for you, by paying it forward and sharing this podcast with someone that you know who could benefit from it. And last but not least, if you liked the podcast show, please give us a review. 5-star. We'd appreciate that. Thank you for listening to The Mindful Experiment, helping you discover your infinite potential.